Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel where I am standing here with my Iowa Performance Saws built 2152 Jonsered. And I've fired it up, but I haven't ran it, haven't put it in the wood yet, so we're about to see how fast it can be. And I have to compare it to my Jonsered 2152 that's just got a muffler mod on it. Tim doesn't usually build stuff like this. This is a spicy build, and usually he sticks with stuff that's just more solid, just an everyday work saw, and he likes doing it that way. But he thought he would step outside of what he normally does and try and build something a little bit spicy, and we'll see what it does. I mean, honestly, it doesn't feel any different than just a stocker with a muffler mod. I mean, it runs good and everything, but nothing special. I mean, some people just fucking suck, I guess, right? Iowa Performance Saws, man. They're the worst. Wait a minute. This is the stocker with a muffler mod. My bad, bros. This is the Iowa Performance corny saw. So, we're gonna see how it does. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. That is the first time that I have actually ran it. I tuned the low side a little bit. I haven't touched the high side at all, so there's more testing to do with this saw for sure. But I just got it. I just got it back together out of the box and everything, and I just had to try it out. And I want to say a little something about Tim. Okay. Top of the morning to yees. All right, so, oh, before I forget, because some of you eagle-eyed viewers are going to notice this right here. That is not the stock dog. I do believe that is a 372 XP dog. Or it's a 562 XP. I don't know. I don't know what it came off of. But it was very easily retrofitted onto this little guy right here. And if I was using it as a work saw, it is a huge upgrade. So maybe it was the stock. Maybe it was the stock one for my Jonsered 2258. I don't know. Anyways, but now that I've had a day to process this, in the video that you just saw where I ran this saw, I go on a bit of a rant, and it gets pretty negative about builders shitting on other builders, and I decided it was just too much. I couldn't do it, and so here we are. The next day. I've processed it. I'm going to go ahead and re-edit this video so that you get a more positive outlook on it. It's just, Tim has to take a lot of guff from a lot of people who don't know shit, and his business design. All right, what works for him is he builds good, simple, solid, reliable work saws. He doesn't build stuff like this. If you were to call him and ask him to replicate this, he probably would just say no. And it's like, why? I don't understand. A lot of you guys don't understand. And well, the good thing is I and Tim, neither of us need to make you understand. We're okay with that. But if you need a little help, then I'm going to help you out of why Tim does not build more spicy saws. All right. So let's get real for a second here. I really enjoy this community. I've met some great people, and I really enjoy going to the races, hanging out, and I enjoy meeting viewers whenever I go to these races. I do not want to discourage anyone from coming up to me and meeting me and saying hi. I like that, okay? But as a whole, I'm an extremely private person. I'll go to these events and I'll talk your ear off. But when I'm at home, I don't want you to bother me. I want to be left alone. If my phone rings twice a day, I'm like, what the hell? Who's all these people calling me, right? So whenever you email me or find a way to message me or anything like that, and I don't respond, don't take it personally. It's not because I think you're a piece of shit. It's because I think pretty much everyone's a piece of shit. And unless I've met them in person and can get through that, I really won't even respond. And even still, there's only a very small handful of people that actually have open access communication to me. And that's the way I am. That's the way I like it. Probably die a lonely old man. But hopefully that's a few more years down the road. The kidney stone thing is getting really great. I mean, it's really healing up and good. So now that I've said all that, and I hopefully am not going to discourage anybody with what I'm about to say, all right? I want you guys to get real for a second, all right? So this is about why Tim doesn't build things like this for other people, all right? As much as I enjoy this community, we have to acknowledge the big fucking elephant in the room, and that is we are not the smartest crowd, right? This hobby does not attract intellectuals. No one in this hobby is going to win a Nobel Prize, going to win, Rider of the Year. Most people that are in this hobby are probably a fourth grade level English student, and so it is what it is, all right? Don't deny it, all right? There's a lot of people will go, there's more to intelligence than book smarts. You're right. There's a lot more to that, There's a lot more to that than that or whatever. If you can tell, I'm slightly nervous talking about this because It's insulting. And if you're sitting there and you're getting pissed, right, you're one of the stupid ones. If you're sitting there and you're going, yep, I know what you're saying, Bodie. You're one of the smart ones. You know, and it's just that cut and dried. The fact that I personally have had dealings with 20 people that have been working as an arborist, as a logger, something like that, as a residential tree guy, you know, for 20 plus years, and they have never learned to tune their saw. That tells me a lot about this whole community, right? People aren't into the tree work typically because it was their dream job. They're there because that's all that they could do. And so, what does this have to do with anything, right? If Tim builds a saw like this and sends it out to Jimmy Two Toes, you know, he doesn't know Jimmy Two Toes, not at all. And even if he gets to know Jimmy Two Toes a little bit, typically what he learns about Jimmy Two Toes is that Jimmy Two Toes is smart as a bag of dicks, you know? I mean, just, right? And so if he builds a saw like this and sends it to Jimmy Two Toes, then Jimmy Two Toes is super happy for a split second, and then he gets it and he realizes Tim has set it up running rich so that whenever the customer gets it, they're going to have to tune it, right? And he doesn't know how to tune it, and so he's going to say, hey, why this thing's not running right? And Tim's like, well, I make sure and send it out a little bit rich so that you don't burn up the saw. You'll have to tune it to your environment. What do you mean tune it to my environment? They don't know any of this stuff. They don't know any of this stuff. They don't know that you can't take a saw that was built and set up and ran in Iowa and send it to New Hampshire to somebody who's going to go cutting on the top of Mount Washington. There's a difference. You have to tune that saw. Now, auto-tune has helped out with a lot of this, a bunch of it. But what's his name? Jimmy Two Toes? Jimmy Two Toes gets the saw. He tries to tune the saw, and he leans it out too much. He blows the engine. And then he goes on social media and he says, Iowa Performance Saws built, I paid $450 or something like that for Iowa Performance Saws to build me this saw, and it blew up the first day. And he blames it all on Tim. So Tim's like, I'm not going to build a saw like that. Right? The other thing is this, and this is how stupid our community is, right? Even professionals, the professionals that do this stuff daily, dumb as doorstop. I mean, and I have to deal with this, right? Not nearly as much as somebody like Tim. Like even the professionals, they get close to the end of their day. They get close to the end of their day and they're wanting to finish up, and they keep pushing that saw. They keep pushing that saw. And they've done this for 20 years. They've gotten away with it. I've never blown up a saw pushing it, and just trying to, that last half hour whenever I should stop and sharpen that chain. I should stop and sharpen that chain, but I'm going to just push it, get it through, and everything. Well, you do that with a saw like this, you blow up the saw. Why is that? Because this thing's going to, with a dull chain, this thing's going to spin 2,000 RPMs higher than a stock one with a dull chain. A stock one with a dull chain that you're just like digging on. I don't know, what, 9,500 RPMs? This thing will do it 12.5. So hell, that's 3,000 RPMs more. You don't think that's going to build up a little bit more heat? So this is what guys like Tim, and not just him, lots of people, right? Lots of people have to deal with. Yes, there's some diamonds out there that are smart and capable, right? But for every diamond, you got pig's teeth surrounding them. You know, imagine a 5-gallon bucket and you put a diamond in the middle and fill up the rest of it with pig teeth. I don't know why pig's teeth came to me. I was trying to think of something that's useless and nasty, right? To get to that diamond, you've got to deal with 1,000 pig's teeth. So they get a hot saw, they burn it up, and they blame Iowa Performance Saws. So that's why he doesn't get into that stuff. He just doesn't. So like if you called and asked him to replicate this, he'd probably just be like, no, I'm not going to do it. Will this saw last? You know, is it so strung out that no, not at all. I could take this and work this all day long, 7 days a week, 365. You know, this is fine. You know why? Because I'm going to set up that carburetor properly. I'm going to run a proper 40-to-1, 32-to-1 ratio. I don't care. I don't care that you think that you can run at 50-to-1 or 100-to-1 or any of that stuff. I don't care. You want to do that? You go for it. I ain't doing it. And my saws won't burn up. You know, and you know, so I'm going to keep a sharp chain on it. Whenever that chain gets dull, I'm going to go, oh shit, I'm going to go sharpen that chain. You know, and so that's the reasons why Tim doesn't tackle stuff like this. It's not because the process eludes him. He's set up just like I am. He's got a nice lathe. He's got a Grizzly. Should have gotten the Precision Matthews. But he's got a nice lathe. He cuts combustion chambers. He cuts the base. He does all that stuff. But the one thing that he typically doesn't do much of is a timing advance. He also typically never touches the carburetor. And these are two things that really bring you the speed and power. He also typically doesn't do stuff like this. This is a race saw. Somebody on his page, people go onto his page on Facebook all the time for shameless self-promotion. And he's like, blah, 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 that cheap muffler mod, wood's going to get in there, and then the piece of junk is going to come to me. I'm a repair service. Reach out if you need anything. It's just like, hey, jackass, this is a race saw setup. He actually did another one that in case I wanted to use it just for cutting firewood or something like that. You know, he sent that with it. But you see, this is the stuff that I have to deal with, right? And Tim has to deal with it a lot because he is really active online and stuff. Me, not so much. But Tim was adamant about a lot of the credit for this build needs to go to Matt House, right? Because Matt House gave Tim pointers and you know, it's like, hey, this works really well, blah, blah, blah. And just like most all of us guys on the East Coast anyways, that's building something like this, if we haven't directly contacted Matt House, it's somebody like him. You know what I mean? There's a handful of guys that are really known to do these 346 XPs really well. And Matt is definitely one of them. But you show me a person that's never had help along the way, then I'll show you a liar or somebody that never got any place, you know, never did anything great. So we've all had help. And so Tim wanted to make sure and give a shout out to Matt, even though Matt doesn't, he's like, you ain't got to say nothing about me anyways. But thank you, Tim, for building it. Thank you, Matt, for giving some pointers of what Tim could expect and what he could do. I don't know where the numbers are on this, but I do know that it's nothing incredibly special. These things just build power really well. And yeah. The big question that you guys might be wanting to know, is this thing as fast as darkness? I don't know, but we're going to have to measure it out and see, you know? I think this thing will pull higher RPMs, but I do believe that the Jonsered is going to have more torque, right? Which is really good because like this saw right here, if you notice anything going on, anything special going on with this chain, right? This thing is set up with a 3/8 race chain. You know, whenever I go to a race to where I can run whatever chain I want, then I typically put this chain. Oh, I lost a tooth. Oh, that sucks. But I typically run this chain on this saw. And well, with a 3/8, that sprocket gets bigger. And I think that it would be better set up to run a 3/8 on this. I think this will pull that 3/8 better. But with both of them running 7-pin sprockets and 325 chain, like this is set up, I think that probably, I don't know, it'd be close. I think that probably the 550 would be a little bit faster, but this one would be able to pull an 8-pin better because it has more torque, and therefore I would set this up with an 8-pin at a race and it would beat it. So anyways, Gary, bro, I need some stickers. I'll get in touch with you. All right. We're going to go ahead and do 2153 because why not? All right. Later.